I know you've heard it before, but this time the student loan forbearance really is coming to an end. Here's how you can get ready for student loan payments to restart. So you haven't had to make a federal student loan payment in a long time, like a really long time. By the time they restart, it's going to be nearly 2 years. You're probably not really used to doing it, so it's not necessarily going to be in your budget. But there are a few things that you can do to make sure that you keep your loans in good standing. The first thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that your servicer has all of your up-to-date contact information. It sounds really basic, but they need to be able to get in contact with you. That means that they need to be able to email you, send you a letter, give you a phone call. If they don't have all this information, you could end up missing a payment. Miss enough payments and you could eventually default. It takes about 270 days, which sounds like a long time, but it happens pretty quickly. And once you default, it can lead to all kinds of negative consequences like credit damage or wage garnishment. This happens to a lot of people, so it's something that can happen pretty easily. So you just want to make sure that you're making all of your payments on time. If you can't make your payments, you're not alone. A whole lot of people's finances have changed due to the pandemic, job losses, medical expenses, and even natural disasters. But because you're not alone, there are safety nets that are in place that can help you out. Your first and best option is to enroll in an income-driven repayment plan. That'll tie your payments to a portion of your income and extend your repayment period. At the end of your repayment period, the remainder is forgiven. But while you're enrolled, your payment could be $0 if you lost your job or are underemployed. You need to re-enroll in it every single year. So if you're already enrolled in one, you need to resubmit any other income information if your finances have changed. You also could request another payment pause. If you experience financial challenges that could be short-term, requesting an unemployment deferment, which is available for 36 months, or a hardship forbearance, both will pause your payments. But unlike the current forbearance, interest will accrue and capitalize, which means it'll be added to the total amount that you owe whenever you start payments again. If all of that sounds confusing and you think that you're going to need some one-on-one help, there are places that you can turn. As we said, you still should start with your servicer. They're the ones that can help you enroll in an income-driven repayment plan, consolidate your loans, and help you stay on track towards existing forgiveness programs. But if you're having trouble with your servicer or you're not getting the assistance that you need, there are other legit ways to get help. I would say first, start off by finding a nonprofit. Organizations like the Institute of Student Loan Advisors can give you free one-on-one attention, or you can get a complete review of your financial picture with the National Foundation for Credit Counseling or American Consumer Credit Counseling. There are instances when you might need to consider legal options. The National Consumer Law Center provides comprehensive information and has a list of reputable legal sources. Above all, you need to avoid scammers. Debt relief companies promise to forgive your loans or consolidate your debt with the federal government, but any company that's promising forgiveness are scams, and you never have to pay anyone to consolidate your debt with the federal government. It may sound cliche, but when it comes to student loans, if it sounds too good to be true, it definitely is. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, forgiveness. Whatever you do, don't count on it. It's not a good strategy. There is no specific proposal or amount out of the White House, and Congress has yet to introduce a bill. It's safe to dismiss any unsolicited calls that promise you forgiveness because the federal government is the only one that can discharge your debt. There are, however, some legitimate forgiveness opportunities available through the federal government, like public service loan forgiveness. That's for those who work 10 years in public service while repaying their debt at the same time. There's also borrower defense for those who are defrauded by their colleges, or closed school discharge if your school closes permanently while you're still attending. And then there's also temporary or permanent disability discharge for those who are disabled and cannot work. So this is a reminder, we're just talking about federal student loans. If you have private student debt and you're having trouble making payments, you're going to have to talk to your lender directly about taking a pause with a forbearance or temporarily lowering payments. But most people who have student loans have federal student loans, which means most people with student loan debt are going to need to work that amount back into their budget come February. Now's a good time for a practice run. Set aside some of that money, ideally into an emergency fund, and see what your budget is looking like. If things are looking tight, it might be a good option to contact your servicer directly and find out about all those payment options that we were talking about before. To recap, make sure your contact information is up to date. If you're having trouble making payments, contact your servicer about different repayment options. If you need one-on-one help, there are legit nonprofit organizations that can help you with that. And don't count on forgiveness. Oh, and if you still have the funds, keep paying. Then again, it's kind of a low interest debt. So if you're paying off high interest debts like a toxic credit card or padding an emergency fund, then those might be better priorities for you right now. But the point is you don't have to wait until the restart date to start making payments. Remember, your debt is just a small fraction of the $1.3 trillion spread across 43 million people. You are not alone, and there are options to get help if you need it. I'm Anna Helhoski. If you have more questions on this, we have some great articles on the site. But if you need direct information about the payment restart, go to the Federal Student Aid website or your servicer's website. If you learned something in the video, please like and don't forget to subscribe.